Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kulayim Ma, Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shamak Yahushai, Bashem Kakatash, Tabanas Apostle Elsgrim, Milson, Peace, Sensation, Full like Shalom. And this video pretty much is going to be about, the gunman who threatened the MTA bus driver. And title says, gunman threatened the MTA bus driver who demanded he pay, I should kill you. And it says, a Queens fare beater pulled a gun and hissed, I should kill you, to an MTA bus driver who dared to ask a scarf fraud to pay. Cops said Sunday. The twisted transit rider, who was wearing a brightly colored hoodie, boarded a Q17 MTA bus at Horace Harding Expressway in Kisena Boulevard around 9:30 p.m. on December 23rd without paying the fare, cops said. 59-year-old bus driver asked the scofflaw to come over to him, at which point the man began arguing, prompting the operator to ask him to leave the vehicle. As the fare beater exited the bus, he snarled, I should kill you, while pointing a firearm at the driver, cops said. The individual then walked in front of the bus and pointed the firearm at the bus operator again before fleeing to parts unknown, police said in a news release containing photos of the suspect dressed in a colorful hoodie with letters on it. There were no injuries, cops said. This guy looked like he could potentially be from another kingdom, though. That's right. They said the gunman is described as approximately 5'7" with a medium build. He was last seen wearing a black face mask, black bubble jacket with a light multicolored hood, black pants, and black sneakers. Yeah. So pretty much that guy, he's kind of stupid to do that on a bus, and knowing that buses got cameras. So I'll bring out the scriptures and Lord willing, hopefully make this lesson edifying to you hopeful elect out there. This is the first scripture I'll bring out since, it goes towards this lesson and knowing that how you have to use wisdom. And it says, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 13. And that's what the bus driver, pretty much did after he saw that individual had a gun. It says, keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill, so shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. This is mostly talking about, like, obviously, the so-called white man. And, when you're dealing with, like, a cop, or when you're dealing with, like, the average Edomite out there, or so, mainly, like, the police. But this could also go into how when you deal with, like, let's say, one of these crazy-ass people in the hood, like, these niggas, so to say, these gangbangers, you're dealing with them, and you just got to know how to move with wisdom. And it's always best to go out there and not start any trouble with anybody, not even an argument. As a bus driver, if somebody even hops on the bus like that, it's just best to not even kind of say anything, especially around a certain time, like, 9:30 or so. That's like, it gets dark around that time. And, shit happens at night usually. And, they even will do some stupid shit like that even in the afternoon, in broad daylight. And they don't care if there's cameras. That's the stupid thing about people nowadays. I mean, him wearing a ski mask makes it harder to identify him, but even then, it's like, you being around cameras is still dumb to do something like that regardless. But some bus drivers, like what you see a lot of them will do is that they will escalate the situation and try to act like what you would call a, like they would try to act like a police officer, and they would try to like enforce it, like, yo, you gotta pay the fare, and try to yell at you like they somebody tough or whatever. They would try to be a little confrontational about it, and a lot of times that's how they end up, getting their ass beat or they lose their life. So, because they want to put their personal issues on the job and shit like that. And in Proverbs 20 verse 3 it says, "It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling." So honestly, like, you pretty much trying to do things to escalate the fight may just end up costing your life. There's a lot of people nowadays, they don't go by shooting, the fair one or so, as they say. They don't go by making the fight fair. Sometimes they may try to add a weapon into the fight, a knife or a gun, and, as the saying goes, that there's no rule to a street fight, and street fights are never fair. So people are not going to fight you fairly in the street, and that's something you got to realize. Even if you are a professionally trained fighter or not, you got to still realize that. And you always got to be aware of what your opponent has on him. And, I'm not going to lie, like the other scripture is saying, like, how going through the battlements of the street, of the city or so, you have to deal with all these type of crazy motherfuckers once you walk out there. All these type of people got spirits on them, and you got to move cautiously and wisely. Scriptures say how you have to be circumspect, as wise, not as fools, because the days are evil. And scriptures say that these evil seducers and wicked men are waxing worse and worse. So don't be surprised if somebody tries to come and do a scooting, doing like a shooting in the school in broad daylight. Don't be surprised if Jake start doing that stupid shit at some point in time. But the spirits on these people are really starting to wax worse, and they're starting to get crazier. In Ecclesiastes 7 verse 9 it says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools." Exactly. And it says in verse 12, "For wisdom is a defense, money is a defense, but excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it." And I'm not gonna hold you in this situation. Money is a defense to just pay your fare and just not have to deal with these stupid ass MTA bus operators that tell you, oh, you gotta pay the fare. This and that's a defense from them. I'll tell you that for a fact. Because these MTA bus drivers, they're annoying with that shit. And it's also a defense from that $100 ticket that these officers will try to write you up for if they pretty much catch you in the act of hopping the train, hopping the turnstile. And but wisdom itself, main point I want to say is the wisdom itself that man had when he saw the gun. And I don't know how he was talking to the guy, because sometimes some MTA bus operators are a little confrontational. They have that stinking ass attitude when they try to tell you gotta pay. So he just lucky it didn't result in him getting shot. Some of them do fucking deserve to get fucking pistol whipped the way they fucking talk. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them deserve that, especially how they could talk to a teenager that's going to school, you know, and a teenager tell you like you lost your Metro card, something, they'll be like, so what? You gotta pay your fare or whatever. And then they'll try to have a little attitude with you, like they got some beef with you, and you're like, damn, you know, you're just a kid. Now how you beefing with a young ass kid? And then you wonder why sometimes they end up turning out to be, you know, gangbangers on the street for that, you know, to show some toughness, I guess, amongst people that used and abused them and, you know, talk down on them, like knowing that they didn't do nothing to those type of people, you know, at first, before they became, you know, like that. But yeah, you know, if these bus drivers continue running their mouth and trying to act a certain type of way, they're just gonna find their asses, you know, in the hospital or 6 feet under, you know. And it's not wise losing your job just by, you know, or even, I mean, well, it's not wise to like lose your life or end up in the hospital just because you can't keep your mouth shut, or, you know, you can't really apply wisdom the right way. You got to think for these people, you know, because like scripture saying in Ephesians chapter 6, how we wrestle not against flesh and blood, how we wrestle against principalities and high places. So you have to really think for these people, because these people, a lot of times, they go out there in the street, they're not really themselves, you know. They got spirits on them, you know. And you might think that, oh, it's them moving like this, but it's not. It's the spirits on people that's moving them like that, that's making them act a certain type of way. You know, for you to do that in a public vehicle, not even in an Uber or a cab or something like that, you know, it really shows you the type of spirits you have on you, you know. So, and plus, like, if he was to shoot him, you know, people will hear that, and there's cameras out in the street to watch you, you know, where you go. So you're more likely to get caught eventually. And but at least he had a ski mask on, because some people, they do that shit without a ski mask a lot of times, you know, and they still go as they don't care. It shows you the type of world that we're living in and how dumb these people get. But with that, hope I made it less than edifying. Let's give all glory, praise, and honor to Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shamlak, Yahweh Bashem Kakadash, Taba Honest Apostle, Elsgate Millstone, Peace, I teach it all for life. Yahweh Shabbat Shabbat Shalak Ram Arawami, Wako Yam, Wa Ababa, Shalom.